Sean bienvenidos a un nuevo plano.
Bienvenidos a un nuevo plano.
Un nuevo viaje.
Un nuevo viaje.
Un nuevo viaje.
Donde la visión es bidireccional.
Bidireccional. ARI.
ARI. Exposición comercial de tecnología oftalmológica.
Nature is flawless, and we are inspired by this perfection. We blended the sharpest vision in nature with modern technology. We inspire people to see better. Nature is flawless, and we are inspired by this perfection. We blended the most agile, flexible movements found in nature with modern technology. We inspire people to move better. We selected the most spectacular details to inspire people to live better.
VSY Biotechnology. We inspire.
Hola, muy buenos días. Amanece en Alicante y es un gusto daros la bienvenida a ARI24, este nuevo espacio intemporal en el cual formación médica continuada se puede recibir desde cualquier lugar del mundo y en cualquier momento, lo cual nos hace las barreras del tiempo y del espacio. Preparación, en este caso para formación continuada en oftalmología. Estamos en la sesión de cataratas de lentes intraoculares y esta sesión, en este momento que vamos a inaugurar, que es la sesión número 11, va a versar sobre lentes trifocales, la nueva trifocalidad. En esta sesión vamos a hablar de lentes, en primer lugar con una introducción general de Year Offer, y a continuación tendremos el gusto de recibir las presentaciones de Valentín Huerva, de Jorge Alío del Barrio, de Joaquín Fernández, Gonzalo Bernabeu, Francisco Castro, Florian Kreitz, Joaquín Fernández de nuevo y Emilio Dorronsoro junto con un servidor. Esta sesión la vamos a compartir en cuanto a su dirección con Joaquín Fernández y con Gonzalo Bernabeu, que está ahora mismo aquí a mi lado. Así que muchas gracias y quiero presentar a Year Offer, que nos va a hablar sobre este tema y cuál es la perspectiva general sobre la trifocalidad en el año 2024. Muchas gracias y eres el primero. You are the first and the session will be conducted in English. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and greetings from Germany. It's a pleasure for me to talk here about trifocal intraocular lenses. I hope to give you a 360 degrees perspective within 10 minutes. You see my disclosures down here, and let's go directly into the topic. Well, if we look at the currently available IOLs, especially those we use for presbyopia or premium lens surgery, you can see that there's quite a bit of it. And you also know that there is a little bit of confusion. What is a monofocal plus? What is an EDOF IOL? A lot of different type of optics are used there. So you think that the trifocal lenses are a pretty homogeneous group of lenses. In a way, it is true because there's a lot of diffractive technology in use. But if you really have a closer look, you will see that there are also differences. So let's just jump into the monofocal and the trifocal intraocular lens group. As you can see here, I've listed most of those who are available. And if we look at comparisons between presbyopia-correcting IOLs and different categories, you can see that there is some overlapping between the enhanced monofocals and the EDOF lenses. But if you really want to have true spectacle independence, a full range of vision, and you want to guarantee it to a patient, the trifocal lenses are still the gold standard. I'm not going to talk about all the lenses available. I want to talk about some new lenses and some new concepts. I think that gives you a better perspective. Let's first go to the trifocal lenses, who are not really trifocal lenses, who are hybrids between bifocal and EDOF lenses and other technologies. So I've listed here a few of those lenses, and let's start with the eye-bright lens. It's called Max Vision lens, also available in Europe. Here we have a classical combination of a diffractive multifocal lens on one side of the optic and an EDOF optic on the other surface of the lens. As you can see here, it's listed. This works pretty fine in these type of lenses. We looked at the laboratory in it, and we also implanted this lens. You can see here the light distribution, and until 4.5 to 5 diopters, a very equal distribution for distance and near for this lens. And then when your pupil gets higher, only the distance focus is used. And as you can see, you have a posterior surface which is diffractive and an anterior surface with an aspheric EDOF expansion of field. Also, a kind of EDOF trifocal hybrid is a fine vision Triumph lens designed to improve actually intermediate vision, combines this technology and EDOF optics with the goal of reducing the low light condition side effects. So it's free of longitudinal chromatic aberration at far and intermediate focus, where glare and halos appear a bit more, and is designed to have a higher contrast. Here you see the basic idea behind it, and also the so-called monotonic energy distribution, where you can see that they put more energy of light into the intermediate vision compared to the near vision. Also, a hybrid trifocal lens is a synergy. Everybody knows that it's a combination more or less from the bifocal diffractive lens from J&J and the Symphony, with, let's say, best of both worlds technology implemented, which also includes the violet blocking filtration that they have incorporated, which gives you less levels of light scatter, which can also improve. So the mesopic vision is pretty okay, and it gives you a very strong near addition that can sometimes give you a problem for distance or increase the halo glare. So you have to know how to use this lens. But let's go in the field of new lenses developed. I want to talk about the AT-ELANA and also the intensity. AT-ELANA is the lens from Zeiss, long awaited. The AT-LISA3 is one of the gold standard and one of the earliest trifocal lenses, and now they come up with a C-loop type hydrophobic acrylic lens, so from the design different. And the question is the optic also different? Well, they try to make more or less everything the same as you are used from the AT-LISA3, and they did some little refinements. One would be that this lens is aberration neutral. If we look at the bench data in the laboratory, we can see that here on the simulated visual acuity, we have for the defocus very similar outcomes, slightly more or slightly superiority in the near area here with the ELANA. If you look carefully on it, if you look for the MTF, the quality is pretty much the same. Again, in the near focus, you have a slightly better MTF course. The good thing of the making the lens aberration neutral is that it's less fragile under the decentration condition, so it's more robust in this. And you can see that here, the straight blue line. We started implanting it. We're doing a study now. We have pretty good outcomes. You see here, this is actually the very first patient that we had. And I think it will be a very good addition to the Zeiss portfolio. The IA applications really get into all kinds of technology in ophthalmology. Here, Hanita used IA algorithm to optimize the light utilization. So they let the IE run several modifications of the diffractive pattern until they find what they considered the best usage of light, or the less loss of light they could get. They actually used a kind of pentafocal intraocular lens design in order to get the trifocal intensity. So light distribution or utilization is different from the intensity. As you can see here, they lose much less light. At 2 millimeter aperture, almost 50% of light energy goes to the near focus, which makes sense. And also the near and intermediate focus later on, when the pupil gets 3 millimeter or larger, keeps more or less on the same level, around 20%, and then the energy for the distance increases. And this is quite different from classical trifocal lenses. If you compare that, for example, with ARTE3 or with the fine vision, you see that there's a different approach. ARTE3 keeps the same distribution, as you can see, for distance, intermediate and near, 50 for distance, 30 for near, 20 for intermediate, and it goes a little bit down with large pupils. And the classical fine vision really was a little bit pupil dependent in terms of the near light distribution. If we look at clinical data, Ehud Asiya and this group has published things from Israel on the Hanita lens, very broad defocus curve. As you can see, you gain, of course, with the binocular approach, and also the contrast sensitivity is within normal limits, so you don't really lose much here. Good patient-reported outcome, as you can see. We also doing an ongoing study with the intensity lens, and we have actually pretty good results, as you can see here, with the LogMAR data all around 0.0, as you can see, especially binocularly. And also the defocus curve similar to Ehud's data, showing a very broad, straight defocus curve. So we will see how this will go on, and we can confirm in most of it. Another approach is to use balanced trifocal lens systems. This is Geometric and Geometric Plus from Hoya, or the ARTE Symbiosis system from Crystal Lens, giving you this idea where distance and near is a little bit different distributed in terms of light distribution in both eyes. You see here the complementary light energy distribution profile of the Vivinex geometric lens. As you can see, pretty simple idea, but effective, and also reduces side effects. ARTE Symbiosis, the system is based on optimizing phase inversion, or trying to prohibit the lens from having phase inversions, and this way also getting two type of lenses, one with a little bit more strength in the near and the other intermediate and distance. Again, we also did a study here, or still working on a study, and have pretty good outcomes, I have to say. And we also noticed that halo glare reduces over time, so the neuroadaptation here gives these patients a very good adaptation. And we had the most interesting defocus curves with this lens. So you can see here, pretty straight, 3.5 diopters without any ups and downs. So quite interesting to see this development. The other thing is there are also new developments based also on IA technology, where here a new pattern, it's a refractive pattern, and a spiral pattern creates a trifocal lens, the Ray 1 Galaxy. We will see in which category we should put that. I would put it in a trifocal. And the idea here again is to optimize light utilization, to minimize dysphotopsia, and still get a full range of vision. The lens was just launched the last couple of weeks. Some people have already started with it. I also did a few cases. We have here some nice cases from Alan Barson, showing very similar outcome like a normal trifocal lens, and also very constant defocus curve, similar to what we have seen here with the trifocal lenses. And also, of course, because the refractive lens and the light is not so much skipped in different parts, you have very low dysphotopsia here compared to classical trifocal lenses. So in conclusion, trifocal is not trifocal. We have hybrid technology combining EDOF, bifocal, and so on. We have complementary binocular trifocal systems, new trifocal concepts based on IA derived patterns for the lens and light distribution. And you've seen even a new type of lens, like a refractive trifocal lens, Galaxy. So there's a lot of things going on now, and I think this will be a very exciting time for us to explore all these lenses. Thank you very much for your attention.
Good morning, everyone. The next speaker is going to be Valentin Huerva. He's going to talk about trifocal IOL Triva from Eclipsa. Let's go.
Bien, los problemas que nos plantean habitualmente las lentes trifocales son los fenómenos disfotópsicos conocidos por todo el mundo, la pérdida de luz en la visión cercana y muchas veces dificultad en la visión intermedia. El año 2021 se presenta en nuestro país la lente intraocular trifocal Triva, fabricada por Humanoptics en Alemania. Es una Smart IOL que nos distribuye en nuestro país la empresa Eclipsa. Esta lente tiene como diseño tres zonas bien definidas. Una zona central, ampliada, nos permite una ganancia de cerca de 3,5 dioptrías, una intermedia de 1,75, y esto nos va a dar una visión continua desde los 30 a 33 centímetros hacia los 80, sin perder nitidez en la visión lejana. Este es el concepto del diseño de esta lente. Consta con unos 7 anillos y esto nos permite disminuir los fenómenos disfotópsicos. La lente nos presenta la zona central más ampliada para evitar los problemas con los descentramientos y ángulos capa elevados. Hemos comentado que disponía de los 7 anillos, los cuales la zona central son elementos difractivos acromáticos que nos van a mejorar la visión intermedia. Lo he comentado que al disponer de menos número de anillos, pues disminuirá los fenómenos disfotóxicos nocturnos. Y la diferencia de otras lentes, la zona periférica es refractiva en vez de difractiva. Y esto nos permite una mejor nitidez en la visión lejana. Sobre todo va a ser útil en las condiciones mesóticas y pupilas más bien dilatadas, mayores de 3,5 milímetros. El diseño difractivo en periferia también nos va a contribuir a tener menos efectos difractivos. Además de las características de diseño, debemos comentar las propiedades físicas de esta lente, por la cual nos podemos inclinar a utilizarla. Dispone un número de AB alto y un índice de refracción bajo. A mayor número de AB y menor índice de refracción, la expresión de luz es menor y la calidad visual mejor. Esto le vamos a añadir que tiene una aberración esférica neutral, lo cual nos va a favorecer en córneas que tengan aberraciones esféricas más bien bajas. En este esquema podemos ver cómo puede funcionar esta lente. La aberración neutra en periferia nos va a mantener el efecto de profundidad que produce la córnea. No alterar la aberración corneal, este mecanismo no lo vamos a hacer. Bien. ¿Cómo se nos va a comportar esta lente en pupilas, con la pupila? Pues vemos que las pupilas grandes, pupilas más bien dilatadas, de 3,5 o 4 milímetros, la distribución va a ser mayor de lejos. En estas pupilas, en la visión intermedia disminuye muy poco y en visión cercana la luz perdería un 15%. Esto es muy útil porque en muchos pacientes con lentes multifocales en condiciones mesópicas de penumbra, por ejemplo, la entrada a un parking, se quejan de que tienen muy baja visión. La lente está comprobado que tiene en las curvas de desenfoque bastantes áreas focales extendidas, lo cual nos van a garantizar teóricamente una visión intermedia bastante útil, un rango bastante extendido. Respecto ya a la lente, como la vamos a implantar, el cargado es fácil en este mecanismo y simplemente con un giro hacia la derecha queda cargada en el inyector de Medicel y ya la podemos introducir. Bien, yo me empecé a utilizar estas lentes en el año 2021. La constante no estaba todavía utilizada y tuve un size miópico. Al operar el segundo ojo, metropizándolo, pues la tolerancia fue perfecta Las lentes tienen un excelente centrado una vez implantadas. Utilizo la fórmula K con una constante de 119.2 y tengo la hemetropía entre 0,50 en el 100% de los pacientes. Quiere decir que se adapta rápidamente a los fenómenos disfotóxicos y la mayoría no dependen de gafas para visión cercana e intermedia. La utilizo tanto en cirugía de catarata como en cirugía refractiva para la presbicia e independencia de gafas. La desventaja de esta lente era la falta de toricidad, lo cual nos limitaba a un grupo de pacientes. Pero en este año ya viene la toricidad, se fabrica con astigmatismo del toro y el mayor número de pacientes podemos implantar este tipo de lente. Bien, pues por lo dicho, podríamos decir que esta lente sería una lente todoterreno que nos tolera bastante pequeños defectos refractivos residuales, sobre todo pequeños astigmatismos, que es tolerable, como hemos comentado, cuando queda un defecto refractivo en un ojo y sobre todo si hay un ojo más dominante que con otro, como pequeñas ambliopías o pacientes que han operado de estrabismo, etcétera, pues podemos implantar este tipo de lentes. E incluso he comprobado, en el caso de ruptura capsular, que si la implantamos en sulcus, por no disponer en ese momento de otra lente, el centrado es perfecto. Evidentemente nos quedará un shape tríopico que podremos replantar o, si somos previsores llevando una potencia menor, pues podríamos solucionar este problema. La lente es hidrofílica y filtro para luz azul. También está disponible sin filtro azul. Bueno, y esta es mi experiencia con la lente Trivanorfix. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Valentín. Nos has mostrado una nueva lente trifocal de unas peculiaridades muy interesantes. Nos va ahora a mostrar Jorge Aleo del Barrio la Vividness Geometric de la Casa Joya. Adelante.
Muy buenas, soy el doctor Jorge Aleo del Barrio y a continuación os voy a exponer los resultados con la LIO Geometric Trifocal que hemos obtenido y que expusimos en el último congreso de la ESCRS en Barcelona. Esta lente es una lente trifocal que tiene la peculiaridad de venir en dos versiones. Ambas versiones, Geometric y Geometric Plus, tienen la misma edición, 1,75 en intermedia y 3,50 para cerca. Lo que las diferencia es la distribución de la luz, puesto que mientras la Geometric va a proporcionar más luz al foco de lejos, la Geometric Plus va a proporcionar más luz al foco de cerca, con el objetivo de que si usamos cada una de estas lentes en cada uno de los ojos, una lente está potenciando un poco más la visión de lejos, otra lente un poco más la visión de cerca, con el objetivo de al final obtener un resultado visual excelente en las tres distancias, tanto lejos como intermedia como cerca. Y a continuación os presento los resultados de los primeros 30 pacientes, 60 ojos, que hemos hecho en nuestra clínica. Hemos usado este abordaje de emparejamiento donde en un ojo hemos puesto la Geometric y en el contralateral la Geometric Plus. Los resultados que os voy a enseñar son a 6 meses e incluyen cualquier tratamiento refractivo o de YAG que hubiera sido necesario. Como veis, los resultados en logMAR de la visión monocular son excelentes, tanto en lejos como en intermedia como en cerca. Y en binocular todavía mejores, veis que el logMAR se ha negativizado, como es común en todas las lentes multifocales, y que su funcionamiento en binocular es muy superior. Ahora a continuación os enseñaré la curva de desenfoque. Pero aquí una peculiaridad muy importante es lo que os decía, la peculiaridad de esta lente de tener las dos versiones de Geometric y Geometric Plus y que de hecho los resultados fueron pequeñas, las diferencias entre estas lentes, que a nivel clínico fueron pequeñas pero clínicamente estadísticamente significativas, puesto que mientras la Geometric proporcionaba algo más de visión de lejos sin corregir, la Geometric Plus proporcionaba algo más de visión de cerca sin corregir, y esos resultados resultaron estadísticamente significativos entre ambas lentes. Y aquí lo vais a ver todo muchísimo mejor reflejado. Veis la curva de desenfoque, con la típica curva de desenfoque de una lente trifocal, donde la Geometric consigue un cierto mayor pico clínico en la visión de lejos y la Geometric Plus lo contrario, en la de cerca, de tal manera que cuando las dos se combinan, la curva de desenfoque en binocular, que es la roja, veis que consigue una mejor visión en todas las distancias que con cualquiera de ellas por separado. Por tanto, es la combinación de una lente trifocal que tiene el mismo diseño, que tiene la misma potencia, lo que cambia es la distribución de la luz a cada uno de los diferentes focos. Y aquí lo veis comparado con otras lentes que hemos usado. Estos son datos nuestros, propios, con otras lentes trifocales. Veis aquí la Panoptix, que es una curva similar, pero donde los focos están más desplazados hacia lejos. Con la Lisa Tri, donde conseguimos con la Geometric un mayor resultado en cerca y un ligeramente menor resultado en intermedia. y con la Fine Vision creo que obtenemos una mejor visión en todas las distancias. Y aquí los resultados aberrométricos, donde veis que se consigue una excelente PSF, una excelente calidad de imagen retiniana y una aberración esférica cercana a cero. Esta lente es una lente esférica de menos 0,17. Y la sensibilidad de contraste que resulta equivalente y cercana a la normal para pacientes de entre 50 y 70 años. Los cuestionarios de calidad visual, pues a nivel de fenómenos fóticos sería equivalente a cualquier otro trifocal, donde hasta el 26% de los pacientes refirieron ver halos con bastante frecuencia. Un patrón de fenómenos fóticos muy bueno para el resto, pero con la misma limitación que el resto de lentes trifocales a nivel de los halos. Y con un 96% de pacientes satisfechos con su calidad de visión en las 3 distancias en el cuestionario de calidad visual, donde veis que hasta el 63% refieren como muy buena su visión de cerca. Por tanto, como conclusiones, la lente G-Metric trifocal tiene la peculiaridad de que tiene 2 versiones que permiten hacer esta técnica de emparejamiento, donde usamos lentes de distribución de luz asimétrica para que la combinación de ambas consiga una excelente curva de desenfoque con muy buena visión en todas las distancias, especialmente a resaltar la visión de cerca, que como hemos visto las curvas de desenfoque comparadas con otras lentes es superior a las otras lentes en el mercado, por lo menos hasta las que nosotros hemos utilizado y probado. Hay diferencias clínicas pequeñas pero estadísticamente significativas entre la G-Metric y la G-Metric Plus, fortaleciendo la G-Metric Plus en cerca y fortaleciendo la G-Metric en lejos. Los pacientes hay hasta un 96% de satisfacción en las 3 distancias de forma simultánea y los fenómenos fóticos serían los equivalentes a cualquier otra lente trifocal a nivel de halos. Y eso es todo lo que os podía comentar y cualquier cuestión aquí estaremos online para resolver vuestras preguntas. Muchísimas gracias por vuestra atención.
Muchas gracias. Y vamos ahora a dar la palabra, después de esta lente que nos ha presentado Jorge Vivinés, a la lente Elana de ZEISS, que nos la va a presentar Gonzalo Bernabeu, que está aquí conmigo. Adelante, Gonzalo.
Muy buenas, soy el doctor Jorge ARI24 y a continuación os voy a exponer los resultados con la LIO G-Metric.
Hola, soy Gonzalo Bernabeu de HM Hospitales, jefe de servicio de la parte de oftalmología de Montepríncipe, Vallés, Eye Center y Rivas, y voy a hablar de la Elana 841, la nueva lente trifocal de ZEISS, que ya he tenido la experiencia de implantar en varias ocasiones y que nos está dando un resultado magnífico. Esta lente lo que hace es unir el concepto de 2 plataformas diferentes. Por un lado, el diseño óptico mejorado de la Lisa Tri, una lente ya contrastada, una de las lentes más implantadas a nivel mundial desde el año 2010-2011, junto con la ZT Lucía, una lente hidrofóbica con ópticos en C, y juntando estas 2 plataformas lo que conseguimos es una magnífica lente trifocal hidrofóbica en C-Loop con un diseño óptico mejorado que está dando unos resultados, como vamos a ver, maravillosos. El diseño óptico de la lente lo que lleva es a unos puntos ideales de enfoque de 40 centímetros en cerca, 80 centímetros en intermedia, y por su diseño difractivo consigue un foco continuo con una calidad de visión de lejos a cerca fantástica, muy buena, que nos lleva a la independencia casi completa de gafas. Yo siempre digo que una lente es para vivir globalmente sin gafas. Se pueden usar gafas para ciertas cosas, sea la lente que sea. Esta lente, bueno, pues está basada en su diseño óptico en la Lisa Tri, una lente que, como os he dicho, lleva más de 12 años implantándose, con más de 170 publicaciones científicas mostrando los fantásticos resultados con esta lente. Y lo que se ha conseguido ahora al mejorar su diseño óptico es mejorar la transmisión de luz. Es la lente difractiva del mercado con menos pérdida energética, con lo cual llega más luz a cada foco que nos interesa, tanto de lejos como intermedia de cerca. Pues sabemos que siempre en la difracción hay algo de pérdida energética, con lo cual no el 100% de la luz se va a repartir entre los 3 focos, sino que hay un porcentaje rondando el 10%, que en este caso es menor, que se pierde. La lente Elana lo que consigue es tener anillos difractivos en toda la superficie para así conseguir una visión independiente del tamaño pupilar, tanto en lejos como en cerca, óptima para el paciente. No va a ser tan influida por las condiciones de iluminación como otras lentes que tienen anillos en solo una parte del diseño óptico, ¿no? Bueno, el diseño de los ópticos es también muy importante porque han conseguido un diseño afilado de los ópticos. Tened en cuenta que es una lente torneada, lo cual le da mejor calidad a la plataforma, y estos ópticos consiguen una estabilidad de la lente dentro del saco fantástica, con un diseño de la óptica que hace que apoye prácticamente toda la lente sobre la cápsula posterior, y la unión de estos ópticos junto con la plataforma que lleva a apoyar sobre la cápsula posterior disminuye muchísimo el riesgo de opacificación capsular posterior. Bueno, también un material glistening free, algo que hoy en día tiene que ser fundamental en cualquier tipo de lente, que nos va a dar una claridad de imagen mucho mejor. Es una de las lentes del mercado con mayor número de AVE, un número de AVE de 51, que esto disminuye la aberración cromática y da mejor calidad de imagen. Como vemos aquí, el número de AVE 51 pues supera lentes muy conocidas del mercado, se acerca y supera el número del cristalino, que es un número de AVE en torno a 47, con lo cual un número de AVE de 51 es una lente de magnífica calidad. Como podemos ver también, el diseño óptico de esta lente es muy importante. Pues una lente biasférica, la biasfericidad lleva a que la lente sea más fina. Una lente más fina disminuye el riesgo de halos cuanto más fina sea la lente, y la biasfericidad es un detalle para mí muy importante del diseño de esta lente, junto con su aberración neutra. Esta aberración neutra hace que la lente se vea menos influida en su calidad visual cuando hay pequeños descentramientos o tilts de la lente. Con lo cual el MTF que se va a conseguir con esta lente es fantástico en casos en los que hay pequeños descentramientos que se verían más afectados en otro tipo de lente. Aquí vemos un estudio sobre 148 ojos y vemos que los pacientes consiguen una agudeza visual superior a 0,2 logmar, que equivale a un 0,6 decimal, en un rango de dioptrías en la curva de desenfoque desde más 1.3 a menos 3.2, con lo cual eso quiere decir que consigue una visión realmente fantástica tanto de lejos como de cerca en la curva de desenfoque. Y bueno, pues es una lente que por mi propia experiencia, la calidad de lejos es realmente espectacular. Los pacientes superan muchos el 20-20, ¿no? el 100% de visión en lejos, y tienen una visión en intermedio y cerca que les hace estar realmente contentos. Por todo esto, yo animo a todo el mundo que pruebe la Elana, que es una lente que van a notar la calidad del material solo con implantar una lente. Se ve cuando la ponemos dentro del ojo, y es una lente que no va a defraudar y que ha mejorado en bastantes cosas a la Lisa Tri. Muchas gracias y espero que os haya aportado.
Okay, the next speaker is going to be Francisco Castro. He's going to talk about Lux Life, the first full range of vision refractive IOL. Is this the true multifocality? Let's see.
First of all, I would like to thank Professor Alio for his kind invitation to participate in this course one more year. It's a real pleasure for me to be here. I'm going to talk about our experience with Lux Life, a novel refractive hydrophobic acrylic intraocular lens that has been designed to provide a continuous full range of vision from far to near. It's a preloaded single-piece 4-optic IOL with a continuous 360 degrees Barry edge. The lens is available clear or with a violet light filtering. This lens has a 2mm central sphere zone, which is a combination of 4th and 6th order spherical aberration on opposite sides, to provide intermediate at 2.2 and near vision at 3.4 diopters. Then a patented transition zone, and finally the monofocal periphery for far vision. I am presenting the study we conducted to clinically assess the LuxLife lens. This is a prospective comparative study conducted in 7 clinical sites. All the patients have bilateral cataracts, age over 50 years, astigmatism below 1 diopter, and clear media. In the right column, you can see the exclusion criteria. Patients were allocated in a 2:1 ratio to receive implantation of either the LuxLife lens or the LuxGood lens. We have 2 main goals. On the one hand, to demonstrate non-inferiority monocular correct distance visual of LuxLife and superiority for intermediate and near vision compared to LuxGood monofocal. And finally, the measured variables in the study. I show you the preliminary results at 4-6 months in 116 patients, 87 in the LuxLife group and 29 in the LuxGood group. We can observe the monocular corrected distance visual acuity. LuxLife group was non-inferior to the monofocal one, and 99% of eyes in both groups were 20/32 or better. 100% of LuxLife patients achieved binocular and corrected distance visual acuity of 0.2 logmar or better. Regarding the intermediate vision, we observed 2 lines difference between 2 groups, and binocular and corrected intermediate visual acuity of 20/25 or better in 86% of LuxLife subjects versus 21 of the LuxGood ones. As for the near vision, we found 3 lines difference between groups, binocular and corrected near visual acuity of 20/25 or better in 90% of LuxLife subjects versus 0% of the LuxGood group. As you can observe in the defocus curve, LuxLife demonstrated an impressive multifocal behavior with a very smooth and flat curve from far to near vision. Binocular defocus curve at a threshold of 0.2 logmar of correct distance visual acuity shows a depth of field of 3.25 diopters for LuxLife and 1.50 diopter for LuxGood. It's worth mentioning that LuxLife patients achieved 0.1 logmar even at less than 40 centimeters. I show you what an ideal defocus curve would look like with no phase at all, no peaks and troughs. How we see it superimposed on the LuxLife lens curve. No significant loss in contrast sensitivity is observed. There is no clinically relevant incidence of halos or glare. In my personal experience, practically no patient has complained of these problems. As regards the independence of the glasses, we can see in the graph the percentage of patients who did not need a spectacle during the last 7 days at all vision distances. Summarizing: first, refracting full range of vision, IOL, correct distance visual acuity statistically non-inferior to monofocal control, distant corrected intermediate and near visual acuity statistically superior to monofocal control. 86% of LuxLife patients achieved a binocular and corrected intermediate visual acuity of 20/25 or better. 19% achieved a binocular and corrected near visual acuity of 20/25 or better. More than 3 diopters of depth of focus at 0.2 logmar visual acuity level, similar halo and glare profile than monofocal control, and high level of patient satisfaction, with 80% of LuxLife patients declaring they are spectacle-free at all vision distances. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Dr. Castro. And now the next speaker is about the VSA technology, Nova Maestro. And Florian Kresch from Germany is going to illustrate to us about this interesting and innovative lens. Thank you, Florian.
Hello, my name is Florian Kretz. I'm the CEO, founder and owner of Precise Vision Augenärzte in Germany, and I'm happy to talk to you about presbyopia. Have we answered all questions? Der Nova Maestro. Here are my financial disclosures. What do we want in presbyopia correcting IOLs? We want no compromise for far vision, good intermediate vision, good near vision, no halos or glare, no loss in contrast sensitivity, no light loss, long-term stability. It's called the eierlegende Wollmilchsau in Germany, but sadly we only have compromise available. If we look at the ESCRS survey, for example, what are the biggest concerns towards presbyopia procedures? 58% is cost to patients, 53% is concern over nighttime quality of vision, and 39% of surgeons still are worried about loss of contrast visual acuity. If we go a bit deeper into it and check what are we actually implanting from presbyopia correction, you can see the majority is still trifocal IOLs, reaching over the last years between 40 to around 48%. But we have an increasing group with extended depths of focus IOLs, and we have the new so-called enhanced monofocals where we have to see where it goes. If we look at the cost has to do with value, and value is the benefits against costs. So in our example, spectacle independency versus a price plus compromises. The benefits are the range of focus in presbyopia correction and the gain in quality of life. The compromises is maybe loss of quality of vision and residual spectacle independency. But how can we increase the value? We can increase spectacle independency, reduce the price, reduce the compromise. Nighttime quality of vision. You can see here the average functional significant visual aberrations of different presbyopia IOLs, and we are in a range under 6%. So is that really a reason why patients should not get a presbyopia correction? I don't think so. Better nighttime vision only comes with less spectacle independency, but you can see the increase is just 2.2%, and to be honest, regular monofocal IOLs have problems sometimes as well. So is this concern really a challenge? Because we can work with better materials and advanced optics to reduce those problems even further. And here the Maestro comes into place with a sinusoidal technology for refractive lens exchange and cataract, maximum light transmission of 93.5%, less rings because of the sinusoidal technology, minimum hair and glare loss, sharp night vision. It's hydrophobic, glistening-free material with a low PCO rate. A very advanced optic. The material is absolutely glistening free. That has been proven by the University of Utah, where it was actually compared to the Microsoft IQ and Technis and had better values for glistenings. The configuration of the C-loop haptics and the optics make it very easy for the lens not to tilt or not decentrate, even with capsular shrinkage or in smaller capsular bags. It's very easy to be injected through the preloader because of the TG. Now we come back to the technology, and you can straight away see with the unique SVT pattern what is the benefit to traditional trifocality and diffraction. It's far less rings, because each sinus curve gives you two distinct focal points, and actually three, while the ring only gives you two, so need a combination. So it's a very smooth diffractive ridges instead of traditional sharp edge design, patented by WSY. So again, if we look at our worries about nighttime driving, you can see with the Maestro there is less dysphotopsia due to the sinusoidal profiles compared to typical diffractive structure, and you have a higher light transmission giving better contrast. This can also be seen in the point spread function here, where you can see a clearer image with the Maestro compared to the Panoptix and the Fine Vision. Also in the USAF targets you can see a sharper image and more use of light in the 3mm aperture in all three distant focuses. If you look at the AMTF results, you can also see that especially in intermediate the performance is slightly better compared to other competitors. Light distribution, it's very equally distributed for the Maestro, so mainly it goes to the far point, but still intermediate and near have a very similar quantity, giving a large range of focus even under low light conditions. The intermediate spot is placed at around 80 centimeters and 40 centimeters, which gives you really good far, intermediate and near vision. And you can see here an implantation video of the Maestro. It's a preloaded system, hydrophobic. I don't put any OVD in the anterior chamber, just the irrigation port. The lens comes out very smoothly and very easily, gets delivered in the capsular bag. It unfolds straight away. You can see the remnants of the APMC from the loading of the IOL. It unfolds, you place it, and basically you are done with your surgery. So it's very straightforward and very easy. There's some good results in the literature here of 86 patients, 86 eyes of 47 patients from 4 different centers. You can see here the age group, very normal, 43 to 76. And you can see the results with a visual acuity very close to 0 and a very good refraction in between -2 to +0.5. So thank you very much for your kind attention.
Okay. The next is going to be my dear friend Joaquín Fernández. Joaquín is going to talk about Liberty, a trifocal IOL from Medical Tour. So let's go with the presentation.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Os queremos compartir los resultados de la nueva Liberty EPS 2.0 de Medicontour. Estos son nuestros 2 conflictos de interés. Tenemos relación de consultoría con Medicontour. Bueno, el guión va a ser basado en estos puntos y fundamentalmente lo que debemos de saber de la tecnología de la profilometría óptica es que utiliza un mecanismo híbrido entre un perfil, como estáis viendo, solamente en los 3 milímetros centrales difractivo, con un patrón lejos-cerca, de 3,50 y 1,75 en plano lente, y la visión intermedia la conseguirá en el aumento de curvatura del primer anillo central, como veremos posteriormente. Estas son las dimensiones y las características que despliega, nos comenta la casa comercial. Es interesante tenerlo en cuenta y quizás cuestión interesante y destacable en la plataforma el anillo en doble C-loop, como estáis viendo, que nos permite un gran contacto con el saco capsular en algunas características como lente histórica sumamente interesante. Y podemos ver la comparativa con otras lentes del mercado en cuestión de superficie estática con la cápsula. Esta es la clave, lo que lo hace híbrida, ¿no? La elevación de fase patentada por Medicontour para que con esa situación híbrida de solamente 7 anillos en 3 milímetros centrales para disminuir los fenómenos fóticos y conseguir la visión intermedia con el aumento de curvatura en perfil refractivo es lo que consigue tener la profundidad de campo de una full range of field sin apenas fenómenos fóticos como veremos. El cambio de EPS 1.0 a 2.0 le dio, como estáis viendo, mayor en banco óptico, estos son datos de banco óptico de MTF, mayor MTF en visión intermedia sin apenas disminuir la visión lejana y cercana. Pero esto debe de ser refrendado con datos clínicos. Como sabemos, en las revisiones Cochrane que se han sido publicadas al respecto, lo que más interesa a nuestros pacientes es la independencia de gafas en todos los focos. ¿Cómo estandarizar los resultados? Bueno, podemos tener los resultados tal cual lo pedimos que sean medidos en literatura científica, 85 candelas, que es lo que vamos a poner, o vamos a presentar, y luego en clínica solemos hacerlo a 200 candelas, con lo cual estos resultados que vamos a poner probablemente sean superados con lo que podáis tener vosotros en vuestra clínica. Cuando hablamos de eficacia de la lente tenemos que irnos directamente a la agudeza visual monocular corregida a distancia, ¿vale? Esto es muy importante tenerlo en cuenta. Todos estos resultados van a ser monoculares, como estáis viendo ahí, y corregida a distancia estáis viendo una media de 0 logmar con una desviación estándar muy estrecha y este 20-20, como estáis viendo, prácticamente en el 90%. Esto es monocular. En intermedia tenéis también la corregida, una media muy alta, 0,08 logmar, con muy baja desviación estándar, o sea, casi siempre vamos a conseguir estos resultados que estáis viendo. Y en agudeza visual cercana, la corregida, también una visión en media y en desviación estándar muy predecible. Estáis viendo casi un 80% en 20-25. Cuando hablemos de la eficacia del procedimiento, ya sí miramos en binocular y no corregida, ¿vale? Bueno, estos son los resultados. Uncorrected distance, en binocular estáis viendo unos resultados bastante espectaculares, como no podía ser de otra manera en la sumatoria. ¿Deberíamos entonces, ante estos datos, pasarnos a una lente EDOF de perfil refractivo para disminuir la difotopsia positiva, los fenómenos fóticos, incluso en comparación con la Liberty? Fijaros, estos son los pros que recogemos con esta lente. Bueno, la independencia de gafas es, bueno, como estáis viendo, es bastante espectacular la satisfacción, pero es muy interesante ver cómo los pacientes se nos quejan de fenómenos fóticos, se quejan algo o mucho solamente en 7.3% de los casos. Estos resultados son bastante espectaculares comparados con otros perfiles difractivos. Y cuando vamos con ese 7.3% de que la gente se queja algo o mucho, fijaros como la media de la lente E2, si sumamos refractiva y difractiva, está en 14, o sea que se quejarían menos. Desde luego, muy parecida a la lente E2 refractiva que están reportadas en literatura científica. Y es debido, como estáis viendo, que solamente esos 7 anillos consigue una PSF mucho más picuda, menos difuminada, de tal manera que disminuirían los fenómenos fóticos. Y en cuanto a la clasificación funcional de la lente Liberty, ya sabéis que publicamos recientemente este artículo y la ESCRS la ha adaptado como propio a esa clasificación. Podéis tener toda la información de todas las lentes de nuestra aplicación, la IOL Evident, la podéis descargar en la Apple Store, bien gratuita, o la versión Pro, que todos los beneficios van a la Fundación Elena Barraquer. Estáis viendo cómo cumpliría con los rangos de una Full Range of Field Smooth. La Full Range of Field porque en 0,2 logmas llega a más de 2,3 dioptrías y Smooth porque la caída es mínima, es menos de una línea y media, ¿vale? Entre distancia lejana, intermedia y cercana. En resumidas cuentas, después de todo este tiempo que llevamos sacando literatura, evidencia sobre la Liberty, hemos conseguido un plató de productividad en los que los resultados están muy predecibles, muy estandarizados y podemos saber que es una lente que nos va a dar un full range of field de profundidad de campo, más de 2,3 en 0,2 logmas, con una muy baja tasa de fenómenos fóticos.
Okay, the next speaker is here with me, is Professor Aliot, and he is going to talk about a very interesting lens, the intensity from Anita. So, come on, doctor.
Hello, my name is Jorge Aliot, and I'm going to show to you the outcomes with a new pentafocal diffractive multifocal lens, which is a Anita intensity. This lens has specific characteristics, has a unique patented design, which is a dynamic light utilization algorithm, and a multi-loop concept between the destination and the source plane. As a consequence, it has a pentafocal symmetric distribution of the focus around zero order, which maximizes the light intensity utilization and is energy efficient. This lens has a diameter of 30 millimeters in the C-loop design and 11 millimeters in the body design. The optical body 6 millimeters, and the power range goes from 10 to 30 diopters with 0.5 diopters increments. It has a posterior aspheric diffractive surface and a pupil aperture optimized design as well in the diffractive profile. Refractive index is 1.46, spherical aberration minus 0.13, and the material is 25% hydrophilic acrylic. The purpose of this presentation is to show to you the outcomes obtained in the prospective evaluation of this lens in the Benalta group. We have studied in alone 6 months the clinical evolution and the outcomes of this lens. Study variables were visual acuity, refraction, the focus curve, conservative function, ocular barometry, clinical quality of retinal image, and patient-reported outcomes. The sample was 62 eyes of 31 patients in which we performed the statistical studies that are usually in this type of investigations. Retinal image optical quality, which is a new parameter, was investigated with a pyramidal barometry using the technique that has been described by us in 2021 in IM Vision. This function, clinical optical quality of the retinal profile of the lens, has been shown to be excellent. Look here, which the image of the bidimensional PSF and its corresponding convoluted image that demonstrates the quality of the retinal image that is provided by this lens. The visual refractive outcomes were very good. You will see this later, but as you can see, binocular corrected visual acuity was for far 0.02, for intermediate 0.08, and for near 0.02. In all cases, the vision for far, for near and intermediate was really excellent, as it is shown in this slide. Here you have the high precision of the IOL calculation using the A constant recommended by the company. The patients were around emmetropic, all of them, and the uncorrected for near visual acuity was as good as the far. This lens provides vision to all distances. This is reflected in the focus curve, monocular and binocular. You can observe here that this lens has a full range profile, and this full range profile offers to the patient excellent performance in all distances with spectacle independence, as you will see later. Cognitive function was not affected, and especially the mesopic frequencies were not affected in a significant amount concerning the controls. Patient-reported outcomes were really excellent. Here, in this grading system, the lowest is the number, the better is the performance, and the severity of the patient-reported outcomes. If negative, you see that the only one that reflected to happen was halos, in which a severity that was submitted to low range, while the other parameters were not reported. Halos are the only one, and a little bit of glare were still reported at 6 months, as in most of the diffractive intraocular lenses. Here, the patient-reported outcomes measures concerning the NAVQ-10 questionnaire were excellent as well. You see that this is the lowest and the better in terms of meaning of the patient-reported outcomes. The patient-reported minimal or no reported negative outcomes in all these aspects. Patients were very happy. In near vision, 90% confessed that never used glasses, intermediate as well, and far vision. The only patients that needed sunglasses were because astigmatism was not an exclusion criteria, and some of them were left with 1 diopter of astigmatism. 90% of the patients, as a consequence, would select the lens again. And in conclusion, the intensity pentafocal lens successfully restored all vision range in presbyopic patients. The flat profile of this lens confirms that 5 focuses the distribution principle of this lens, providing significant visual acuity for near to the infinity without compromising far vision, while increasing the depth of focus and having good intermediate vision. And the ideal patient profile is the intellectually active patient who prioritizes a continuous reading and intermediate range of vision with excellent far vision, even if experiencing short dysphotoscias like a little bit of halo and glare. This paper has been this month accepted for publication in I. I'm very proud to confirm to you that this paper will be available in 1 month online. This lens has a full chapter in our new edition, the 3rd, that is upcoming in mid-2025, about multifocal intraocular lenses, the art and the practice. I remember you that the ARI is an online activity of our online course on refractive cornea, cataract, and intraocular lens surgery, which is available for you in the 10th edition. And I thank you very much for your very kind attention.
Thank you very much, all the speakers. And now we have the moment in which we can have a short debate led by Joaquin Fernandez. Joaquin, you are in the lead now with Damien Gatinel and Sarah Dayan. Thank you.
How much time do we have to do the debate, Jorge? Okay, let's see. Well, we are going to talk about this family. Jorge Alió proposes this family. He proposed the title for the symposium about the new trifocality. What for me, I really think for all the people that are listening to us, it's important to talk about the outcomes, the patient outcomes, and also what could be the common feature, characteristic of all this family. Probably this family is going to achieve in 0.2 logMAR as ISO proposes, the cutoff, and the ESCRS classification, more deep of field than 2.5 dioptries. This more or less would be the common characteristic of the lens. The question for Professor Alfa, Cheras, and Damien would be, what would be for you the best candidate for all this family? A lens that could have, for this cutoff point on 0.2 logMAR, would be 0.6 in decimal or 2032. What could be the best candidate for this type of lenses in your clinical practice?
I think we need to, I think that what we need to consider is the recipient of these lenses, the patient. We seem to forget that in everything that we do when we present scientifically. Patient-reported outcome measures are extremely important. Every patient, they don't all fit in one box. They're different in terms of what they want, and we need to provide them with what they need. So, what we might consider the ideal may not be ideal for them. For instance, an accountant might have a major requirement for near vision more than than perhaps they do for intermediate and distance. It really depends on their psyche, their professions that they do, their daily activities, and their ability to neuroadapt to all these different situations. So I think the 0.2 logMAR scale is what's been standardized as being functional vision. So that makes sense to us, but really we have to ultimately discuss that with the patients. So I have no problem with 0.2 as being the standard, but I think we need to refine it a little bit more.
Okay. I think that also depends on where the patient comes from. A lot of the standards that you were referring to are excellent for cataract patients that come from a standpoint where they couldn't see very good, and they're very happy with all these requirements. And if you talk about a 50-year-old refractive lens exchange patient who has 1.25 uncorrected vision, he may have a different perspective of it. And I think that's also what Shiraz is referring to, that we have to get the picture, in the picture also the patient's perspective in a way. But I think you're pretty good in setting some standards. But as I said, cataract patients, yes. Refractive lens exchange, we really have to think about it.
Yes, I agree. I think the best predictor for success is the level of cataract before. Patients are not sensitive to any level of vision in particular. They are sensitive to the change you bring them. So for the same vision, if you have an improvement because the crystalline lens was very poorly transmitting light towards the retina, any lens will probably give satisfaction. Whereas if you have a clear lens, which is just dysfunctional because of accommodation, the patient expectation is much higher, and with the same vision, he may be disappointed. In addition to this, it's difficult to say that you can have a specific requirement because the lens behavior, all the company, they shine light, of course, in a positive way, and they make their lens on optical benches in the best conditions possible. So they will select a corneal circular aberration, which is matching their lens circular aberration, so the lens performs the best. But in reality, we know there is a large variation in terms of corneal spherical aberration, pupil dynamics. So again, I think in the future, what should be more important than getting a lens that would be fitting this and that characteristic is that we have many lenses that fit different characteristics, and we can choose the one which will provide the best performance in a specific eye.
Okay. Professor Alpha, I have a question for you. Right now, last year, the ISO proposed us a new category, a new subfamily, talking about the full visual range. It would be achieving for the cutoff of 0.2 logMAR, more than 2.5 dioptries, but with a monotonous decrease from the intermediate to near. Okay, so we need to. The question would be: are we going to see a new trends in the industry, increasing the intermediate vision for all these lenses? What could be the advantages for our patient? What could be the drawback? In terms, for example, of distant vision is going to be more sensitive for any other characteristic. What is your reflection about that?
Well, yeah, we see in general a trend to get a more straight defocus curve, a more balanced defocus curve, not this ups and downs, which I think in general is a good thing. This is actually by distributing the light more balanced and getting also more light in the intermediate range. In the first trifocals developed, we had only 10-15% of light energy in the intermediate focus. And the intermediate focus comes more and more into focus of daily life because of activities. It developed over the last 10-15 years. 20 years ago, nobody cared about intermediate vision, and nowadays it's more or less more important than near almost. You have the impression. This term of full range of vision really sounds like made by industry, frankly speaking, because it has been used already by some companies to describe this. I'm not quite sure if we should make this a legal thing, but on the other hand, it gives you an idea what you want to achieve. I don't have a final opinion about that, actually. I'm looking into this issue and looking at what has been published here. of course, it gives you a different value in terms of, you don't say trifocal or EDOF or something. You describe the category by functional outcome, and that is the difference. Yeah, maybe that's good. Maybe that's the wrong, because I'm like more Dr. Dacatinel's approach, that we need a variation of lenses to have a more personalized approach to the patient's needs.
Cheers.
So I've got to say that with all these lenses, there's a compromise somewhere, and I don't think we're talking about the compromises. So while I have to say I have not had problems with patients complaining about intermediate vision, except it may take a lot longer to adapt. Where in those that have a discontinuous defocus curve, the only two patients that were able to differentiate the pinpoint focus was a Sky News cameraman and another photographer. They were the only two patients that said, well, I'm in focus here, but if I move it a few centimeters away, it goes out of focus. But, these people are wired that way. Not every patient is like that. But my question is, and I don't think it's been addressed, so you've got these flat defocus curves. What are we compromising? Is it something we're not measuring? I'm curious. I have an answer for that. I mean, I know some patients are sensitive to it. They will tell you very clearly that, I can see that line, doctor, but it's not crisp. It's not crisp like it used to be, especially the hyperopes, where they had their own autofocus built within their eyes prior to surgery. They could focus at any point and very, very precisely. They get the soft focus. They don't like it. And again, that's back to choosing patients. So I wouldn't put one of those increased range of focus lenses in any hyperope, because they go mad. There's a likelihood that they go crazy because they haven't got that crisp focus. So what are we compromising? We can go and attempt to do all this, and maybe the trend for the industry, but ultimately we've got to satisfy our patients. And I don't know if we're addressing that properly or not.
Excellent. Damien?
You're muted.
Yes, I really agree with what was said, and again, the terms that are used for marketing purposes sometimes do not really reveal anything important, because eventually, when you look at lens designs, the properties that can be used are always restrained to refraction and diffraction, which can be sometimes used in combination, of course, along with some aspheric control, but companies tend sometimes to use ambiguous terms of even contradicting terms, like there is no aberration, and yet there is an extended focus, which is contradicting, because if you have no aberration, you have no depth of focus by definition. So I think what should be very important in the future is to maybe put pressure on companies that they would be more transparent and reveal the exact characteristics of the lens, instead of trying to disguise some properties and claim they have something very new, because eventually it's usually more or less a recipe that was used in the past, but that has been improved instead of a clear improvement. I'm interested in the spiral technology, for example, because that's something which seems really new for ophthalmic applications. But apart from that, most designs are classic and not so novel, even if they are introduced like they are.
Excellent. Yes, this is also my concern. The idea of trying to elongate more the distribution of light in all the range of field. I really think it could affect to the distant vision. In the post-marketing study, we could see. In fact, I really think it would be right now very important for all of us have the information of contrast sensitivity for distance, and also in a cumulative way in our patient. Right now, it's very critical, from my humble point of view, to see the big picture of what happened in contrast sensitivity in a cumulative way, in the quality of vision for all these patients, because probably this elongated distribution of light could affect to the quality of vision for distance. We have only 4 minutes left. The last question will be for all of you. We are more or less the trend would be to use the refractive profilometry of optics in the partial range of field, in the head of lenses, and more diffractive in the trifocal or full range of field. Right now, we are seeing more balance. Right now, we are seeing trifocal or full range of field lenses using refractive technology. All of us, we know that the refractive technology are more dependent to the pupil, more dependent to the centration. Diffractive technology are more dependent to the metropy. But do you think it's going to be a trend? We are going to see more refractive technology in trifocality, not trifocality, full range of field. What could be the advantage for our patient or not? What is your opinion on that? Alpha?
Yeah, am I muted? No. I think it is the companies try to get rid of the image of diffractive technology in terms of halo glare and dysphotopsia, and that is why they go into hybridization with refractive parts in the lens. And in some of the lenses, we see some advantage of it. And as I said, new developments like spiral lens and so on may also give us an idea about that. Or if you look in this spherical aberration, different positive or negative foresign can also increase some depth of focus. So there's a lot of things that we can do, which is not diffractive. And I think they are now experimenting with this. Of course, I don't want the lens to lose the identity. Obviously, some companies are very afraid of coming up with a completely new disruptive system. Actually, they want to be sure that they get what they foresee. But I think this is the urge of the companies to get better quality of vision, and this is how they try to achieve that.
I think that there's a disproportionate fear of dysphotopsias.
Yeah.
And what essentially companies are trying to do is find a one-size-fits-all to increase market share so that the average ophthalmologist or the non-thinking ophthalmologist who does not use topography, who does not look at the cornea, look at the axial length, look at the effective lens positioning, can do a biometry automatically and put a lens in that's not going to give them halos, that's going to give them a full range of focus, and so on and so forth. That would be the ideal lens. It doesn't exist at the moment. And the accommodative lenses, whenever they do become a standard, probably in a few years, quite a few years' time, maybe that might address the problem. But at the moment, we're not there. And I think the marketing of companies is a little bit lopsided, in my view. I think they need to focus a bit more on patients and what they really want.
Well, last minute, your opinion?
Well, yes, as Gerd said, the diffractive concept seems not so fashionable today because companies have put in the mind of doctors that diffraction means halos. Which of course can be true, but as also Sherrod said, it's completely relative to what the patient had before, because when you have a big cataract, the halo is 10 times bigger than what you will have with any diffractive IOL. So the patient will not complain about that, especially also because he will have light absorption. So if you have more light and a smaller halo, even if there is a halo, the patient will say, "Thank you, doctor." But the refractive thing looks like better, but it's in fact not, because if you use refraction, you use aberration again, and you use spherical aberration, you use coma in asymmetrical lenses, and then you have a degradation of the image. If you use negative spherical aberration, you must induce a very central myopic zone for the lens to improve the depth of focus. And therefore, the distance vision quality is not as good as with a diffractive lens when there's no halo condition that is in the day. So the success and why trifocal IOL are still the leading lenses is that if you compare the quality of vision, I'm not speaking about mesopic condition of patient that had clear lens before, but the regular cataract patient coming for cataract surgery and who wants good distance and good near, trifocal are still much better than any refractive concepts because the quality is better. In other words, diffraction copy-paste foci to different vergences, whereas refraction distort foci to elongate them, and that necessarily creates a degradation in the optical quality of the lens. And that's something which should be more explained to our colleagues.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your opinion. It was incredible to have you here. Our Professor Alfar, Cheras, Gatinelli, it's amazing to hear you always. Jorge, we can continue if you want with the session.
Thank you very much, Joaquin. It has been excellent. Thank you, Damien, Sarath, and Geert, because it has been an outstanding debate. We have one presentation that was missing, was received in a late time, and this is about clinical experience with the Clarion Panoptics from Alcon. Emilio Dorronzoro will be the one speaking, and this will be the last presentation of this session. Thank you very much for your expert and excellent opinions about all this wide topic. Thank you.
Buenos días, soy Emilio Dorronzoro, responsable del Servicio de Oftalmología del Hospital Universitario de Sanitas de La Moraleja, y quería agradecer a Alcon la oportunidad de compartir con todos vosotros esta mañana nuestra experiencia con la lente Clarion Panoptics en el Congreso de Alicante Refractiva Internacional. Para comenzar, vamos a hablar sobre su diseño óptico. Nos encontramos ante una lente de plataforma C-Loop que presenta una superficie anterior asférica con una óptica central trifocal no apodizada de 4,5 milímetros y una superficie posterior esférica. Es la misma óptica que presenta la lente Acrisoft Panoptics. Para la distribución de la luz utiliza la tecnología Enlighten, patentada por Alcon, que transmite a la retina el 88% de la luz disponible distribuida en una proporción de 50-25-25. El foco intermedio se sitúa a 60 centímetros, que es donde suele estar puesta la pantalla del ordenador, y el de cerca 40 centímetros para que podamos ver bien la pantalla de nuestro smartphone. Ahora vamos a ver cómo se comporta con los datos de los estudios clínicos realizados. En las curvas de desenfoque binocular podemos observar el excelente comportamiento de la lente en nuestros pacientes. Se puede conseguir una agudeza visual de 20-20 sin corrección en todas las distancias, con una curva de desenfoque que muestra un rango de visión completo con transiciones suaves entre los diferentes focos según la nueva clasificación de la ESCRS. Pero es que además Panoptics consigue proporcionar a nuestros pacientes una agudeza visual de 20-25 a una distancia verdaderamente cercana, como son 33 centímetros. En realidad, nos estaría proporcionando 4 focos de visión. Por lo tanto, no es de extrañar que un 91,6% de los pacientes que llevan implantada la lente Panoptics no utilicen gafas nunca. Son datos consistentes porque se extraen de 13 estudios con más de 513 pacientes implicados. Por otro lado, respecto a los fenómenos ópticos adversos inherentes al uso de cualquier óptica difractiva, más del 95% de los pacientes no reportaron no estar molestos por los mismos y solo un 1,6% de los pacientes presentaron un glare muy molesto, que tal vez sea el fenómeno visual más problemático. Ahora me gustaría hablaros sobre la calidad de este material Clarion, que es donde se produce un cambio realmente significativo. Se trata de un copolímero de acrilato metacrilato hidrófobo con un índice de refracción de 1.55. Tiene una calidad óptica excelente. La tecnología Stable Force consigue asegurar que la lente no se gire ni sufra desplazamientos axiales, con lo que no vamos a tener pérdidas de la corrección ni del cilindro ni de la esfera. El 95,3% de las lentes tóricas giran menos de 5 grados en el día 1 después de la cirugía, y todo ello además sin glistening en la óptica. Como resumen de las ideas que os quería compartir esta mañana, podemos concluir que la lente Clarion Panoptics proporciona independencia de las gafas gracias a su diseño óptico, que nos da 4 focos de visión, y a la consistencia de su material. Por lo tanto, corrige las distancias adecuadas, intermedias 60 centímetros, cercana a 40 centímetros, y este rendimiento visual no sufre cambios por rotación o desplazamientos axiales. Finalmente, transmitiros lo que es más importante: el 99% de los pacientes volverían a ponerse esta lente si volviesen a operarse. Muchas gracias a todos y espero que disfrutéis del congreso y que pronto podamos conocer vuestras experiencias con la lente Clarion Panoptics.